Well, if you love nature, if you love to travel, or if you like to make sure that you're getting to all the national parks, I have a wonderful way to commemorate your travels, your adventures. Mike is here to talk about the Silver Bullion Acadia National Park Quarter. It's at an HSN price today for you. This was from the America the Beautiful National Parks Quarter Series. Is that right?
Excuse me, yes. What the United States government did is they started doing, because of the popularity of the American Silver Eagle, the state quarters program. They decided to try to continue that by doing the America's National Parks program. So they decided to do 5 coins per year, honor America's, every state a national park and or national historic area, because not actually every state has a national park. And so they made these quarters, which you've probably gotten in your change. What a lot of people don't realize that they also did, and I don't know why, they made each one of the quarters in 5 ounces of pure silver. So this is actually a quarter.
This is really heavy.
It is 5 ounces of pure silver, and it says right on the edge, 5 ounces, 999 fine silver, 5 ounces. So what we've got, so what it comes down to is you've got this tremendous amount of silver, so this tremendous intrinsic value. But then it's also a coin, okay? And it's become one of the rarest coins, and I have tonight, for the very first time in forever, I have got the 2 most difficult to get, America the Beautiful 5-ounce coins. I have got the Acadia, and I have bought a sealed box. That means these coins are absolutely stunning. Good luck finding these for $379 out there, folks. And they are stunning, original, brilliant, uncirculated. I bought a sealed box. I have 100 coins and 100 coins only. That's it.
And that's the coast of Maine, right? Yes,
that's the coast of Maine that you're going to see right here. So what you've got is rarity. And people say, so what kind of rarity? Like 200,000, 300,000, like a rare American Silver Eagle? How about 30,000 coins? Okay. Well, how about make it rarer than that? How about 24,000 coins? 24,000 coins is what we're looking at here. So if this was an American Silver Eagle, it would be the rarest American Silver Eagle ever made by the United States government. The current rarest American Silver Eagle of all is the 1995 W American Silver Eagle. That coin, the 1995 W American Silver Eagle, is a $5,000 coin. This coin is rarer and has 5 times the silver. This is the coin that is the absolute key to the entire collection. So if you want to collect all the America 5-ounce, America the Beautifuls.
Let me show you the obverse too.
Yeah, well, that's actually a different coin.
Oh, it is. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes, that's all right. We're about to do that.
You're ahead of me.
Yes, that's absolutely right.
All right, so here's the obverse. You get the beautiful rocky coastline of Maine, and then there we go. In God we trust. United States $quarter.
And that's a quarter. So there's the Acadia, which that's the one that I would argue is the most difficult. The one that gets all the press